Welcome back to Turin for the second of the quarterfinals here in the Final 8 of the ULEB Cup. It's a basketball marathon over the next 4 days. 2 games today, 2 games tomorrow, 2 on Saturday and 2 more on Sunday. The one we're concentrating on right now is Badalona against Valencia. And by mine and Martin's reckoning, Badalona the favourites to be victorious come Sunday evening and lift the ULEB Cup. But anything can happen in a knockout competition in such a tight time scale. It's a relatively new concept in Europe.
Well, these are the 2 teams will be familiar with it, because both the Spanish League and the French League, as a matter of fact, have the mid-season competition, 8-team tournament. They play over 3 days. It's who can put together, hopefully, 120 minutes of basketball and win each time on the floor, put the previous game behind you. But you're right, Badalona are definitely the favourites.
Well, let's take a look at the team roster for tonight's ball game. We're going to start off with Badalona, and there is their lineup. And we've talked a lot about Rudy Fernandez, and why not, really? He's such a spectacular player. He'll be one to keep an eye on, but there's a few other names down the list that people will want to be watching out for tonight, Martin.
Well, there's certainly, the inside presence of Jerome Moiso, Hernandez Sonseca. They've got 2 big boys in the middle of the paint there. And then one of the favourite players for me is Lubos Barton, who is, an outstanding player. But Fernandez, no, he's top of the tree.
Yeah, he certainly is. Member of the World Championship team in 06, Junior Olympics in 04. He really does a lot of things for his team.
And for once, he's cut some of his hair off. He's a bit like you, Dan. He goes for that woolly look. But he's trimmed up for this competition. And you can see something like Damon Mallet, you've seen in pictures there. This guy's played most of his career in Germany, and then he comes to a big Spanish club now. Badalona 3 or 4 years ago was not a big Spanish club. But although saying that, if you go back 15 years, they were huge, winning the EuroLeague with Corny Thompson and Michael Smith back in the day. But Valencia, Simela Yavitz there and Shamon Williams. This team here, who is relatively newcomers to the world of international basketball, only been around 20 years as a club, but depth, veteran leadership there. I think it's that backcourt again, Ruben Douglas and Shamon Williams. How will that work with against the Fernandez and the Rubio scenario? And
then the big Panamanian inside, Garcia's at 2'6". He's a big body in there.
Oh, I was calling him Zeus the last couple of times he played. I've seen him play. He reminds me of a guy who's played London Towers called Perry Carter.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Same kind of body, deadly, absolutely deadly screens, gets his guards open. But this has been a magical knit put together by this team. Coach Katsikaris has done a tremendous job of getting this team in shape, and it's a fascinating matchup though. I mean, you've got 2 Spanish teams playing in Italy in a format that they're used to. They're both relaxed. Valencia won in the league against Badalona, a big upset, and then the King's Cup, Badalona beat them before.
Well, here's Coach Katsikaris with Karina.
Beat Joventut by 15 points. Do you think you can do it again today?
No, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a different game. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, but he can go.
That's typical Fortis, I'll say, Dan. Never short of a couple of words.
Yeah, he did. He wanted to run off and slap high fives with his team as they're coming out.
Let me say, this is one of the most intense guys on the inside, but he'll always be cool and relaxed on the outside. He's always nice, and I love you. And he's you couldn't work in the commentary booth with him. He's always hands-on. You're not sure his motivation. No, great guy and wonderful family. The beautiful Caterina, his wife, and great to see this guy on the rise, and really one of the great upcoming young coaches in European basketball.
I was just about to say, he's really making a name for himself in Europe as one of the future stars, if you like, of basketball coaching.
Well, he was his whole life in Aris, in Ayak rather, in Athens. Then he came to play with his years with me in Iraklio, and then all of a sudden he goes out coaching back to Ayak for a couple of years, wins a FIBA Europe Cup, and then he's been off to Russia, and now he's here in Valencia doing a tremendous job.
Yeah, he certainly is, and the future is definitely bright for him. But one man who is a well-renowned coach, Coach Aito. I mean, people know him by his first name. Yeah,
the man is named Aito, but like Mr. Miyagi in Karate Kid. This man is a legend in Spanish coaching.
Aito, el otro día estaba hablando con Ricky y me decía que no le gustaba enfrentarse al Pamesa porque siempre os daba muchos problemas.
Bueno, pues es normal, ¿no? Es un equipo potente que lo normal es que nos dé problemas, ¿no? Otra cosa es que nosotros lo hayamos hecho muy bien hasta ahora, pero eso no significa nada que Pamesa pues, es un equipo de un gran potencial.
El juego del perímetro del Pamesa muy peligroso.
Pues sí, el juego del perímetro y el juego interior, las dos cosas.
He's saying that his team has a big potential and he's excited about the prospect here.
¿Cómo ves a tus jugadores de fuerzas?
Bueno, pues un poquitín...
He's basically said the same thing again. It's a team with a big potential. I think he doesn't really want to put his cards on the table right here. They're not fully at 100%, and he thinks that's affecting them at the minute.
Muy difícil saber. Hay que hacer todo, hay que ser intenso, hay que defender bien, hay que atacar bien.
He says it's going to be a very difficult game.
Muchas gracias.
They have to be as active as possible to take the victory.
So basically said nothing.
He didn't really go out on a limb there and say they were going to win the game. He just said it was going to be a tough game for them, but we kind of knew that anyway.
Yeah, and he's also flagging up, and look at those handsome bunch of referees. Glorious sight to see, because we know we're always big fans of officials in this world. What a wonderful smile between them. Back to the game and leave our friends, the officials, alone. You know, he's pointed out that Valencia have had some struggles in the Spanish league because they're in 5th place, so they're safely in the playoffs, but they're only 18-11 on the season in domestically, and that's the only measure he's got against this team. You know, but he knows that this core team knows how to get it done. You look at both teams, what depth. Great story that the young German Jagler has come out of nowhere really to really be a strong, dominant starting presence for Badalona.
Yeah, he's the only German in the Final 8. He's been averaging 12 points a game in the competition thus far, and he certainly has proved his place in the starting lineup.
Well, it's nice to get some bit of physio before the game begins, making sure all the bones are working the way they're supposed to for Fernandez. Big performance expected out of Rudy Fernandez and Ricky Rubio. And just a contrasting style with this man here, Coach Aito. He has almost been like a father figure for Ricky Rubio. He's been the one responsible for managing the access to them, the agreement that no interviews with Ricky Rubio until October this year. So when he turns 18, you can check on that.
Well, down courtside is Chris Owens.
Joining us. You must be very happy after that win.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm just happy that we came out and got the win at the end of the game. Juju hit a great shot.
Besitkas were overwhelming favorites.
Yeah, they were. You know, they've been having a great year, and they haven't lost a game in ULEB, and I know they're a great team, but we just wanted to come out and play good defense, and I think that's what won the game for us.
What do you think about the next game? What's your prediction?
It's going to be an exciting game. You know, I like up and down games, and I don't know. I just want to see, like, it's going to be interesting. I'll say that.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the game.
Thanks.
Wow, Dan, is he like a coach?
Yeah, another one not really putting his head on the block there. But, I mean, as you say, it's one of those things. They're going to come up against the winner of the game, so they don't want to say we'd rather play this team or that team and give a psychological advantage.
Absolutely. I'll say one thing for Chris Owens. Here's a man with a bit of a foregoing. You know, obviously he's the great-grandson of Jesse Owens, so he's got a little bit of pressure on his shoulders, and what a great story for Galatasaray to turn up at Besiktas. And look, well, that's the way to celebrate. Sit back and watch the next game.
Well, they got to get ready, get their scouting in, as you say. When you go back to back like that, you don't have too much time to go off and think about things. You've got to start preparing straight away for the next game.
It's interesting that in this modern days of such commitment to the physical preparation of a team. The warm down is as important as the warm up, and so to let your team just go and sit in the stands and just get stiff is quite unusual. And look at Henry Domakant from Dynamo Moscow, who obviously they play tomorrow night, the other favourites in this competition. I would almost counter-argue to I'm the coach of Galatasaray. I'm going to take my team back to the hotel, get them showered and fed, and they can watch the game on TV.
Well,
but that's just me.
Well, everybody does things differently. I'm sure they've had, what is it, about half an hour now since the end of their game, so I'm sure they've done...
Oh, come on, Dan, you've been around long enough.
Yeah, it's true.
You sit in the locker room, you know, cut your tape off, you know, get them clean, get some fruit, get the electrolytes back on board. And you know, in a 3-day competition, the 4-day competition like this, that's what's important. Tomorrow is a recovery day, but the sooner that recuperation process begins, the sooner that you take the advantage. This team has got a 2-hour advantage over the winner of this game. It sounds not like a lot, but by the time you get to Sunday, that final, you want that extra time.
Yeah, if you play in the last game every day, that might start to build up against you.
So we're getting close to it, though, Dan. That's winner take all, huh?
Barcelona against Valencia, ULEB Cup quarterfinal, the second one of 4. 2 today, 2 on Friday, and the two teams getting ready now, just seconds away from the opening tip. The last few words are said by the two coaches, and I think at this time really the coach is just reminding them of the key thing he wants them to do, whether it be a defensive thing, whether it be something offensive. He's not going to try and put too much information there. They should have all that on board by now, and it's go out there and execute.
Game plans in place, Dan, you're absolutely right. Interesting to see the points of emphasis. For Valencia, I'm sure Coach Katsikaris will be trying to get his team to establish the rhythm, to maintain and manage the tempo of the game. Whereas for Coach Aito and Badalona, it's all about defense. He knows he has offensive firepower in this Joventut team. So what he's got to do is shut down this man early on. Don't let Douglas and Williams control the tempo and get off early. You know, at the weekend, they beat a very good Tau Ceramica team and hold them to 60+ points. But nobody scored more than 12 points. It's team defense. So it's going to be the defense and transition game of Badalona, which is created from defense, against the offensive firepower of Douglas, Williams, trying to get the other players involved for Valencia. And I, for one, sniff a potential upset.
Well, having come in here saying one thing at the start of the show, Martin, saying that you fancy Badalona to win the whole tournament, you're now sniffing an upset?
Well, they're favourites. There's no question about they're favourites, and it would be very disappointing to only have one 40-minute experience of the great Ricky Rubio. I think we'll be looking back on his early days in the future as he will be one of the best guards in the world of basketball, not just European basketball. But this Valencia team, you know, they won in the league. They got crushed a couple of weeks ago in the King's Cup. So it's almost throw the early stats off. I think there'll be a battle on the boards. If Valencia can control the glass and get Douglas off early, we could have an upset on the cards.
Moiso wins the tip, and here we go then with the first offense of the game. Good ball movement around the edge. Rubio loses the handle. Out comes Douglas, nice pass out. Oh, what a play! Oh, and it bobbles in. Williams with the body control to flip that one back.
Well, you know, straight away, Badalona, quick turnover, and there's a talk about the electric offensive firepower of Williams and Douglas. Now, you're going to have to see it's Fernandez who's got to get going early, but another turnover stripped away. Now, Fernandez says Douglas doesn't play any defense. You better believe that Douglas is going to try and play a little bit D early on.
Kick ball on that occasion. That'll reset the shot clock.
And Dan, for anybody who hasn't seen Shamon Williams, the number 10, the point guard for Valencia play, he never looks rushed. And it's incredible how calm he looks.
Here he is on the ball. Goes back the other way. Fires out to Douglas. That's a tough shot. Oh, and he guns it, and there's a whistle on the play. The basket I'm pretty sure will count. Yes, it does. And the foul as well, and he will go to the line for a 4-point play. And what a start this is by Valencia.
I'll tell you, Dan, this picture perfect. He couldn't ask for any more. Garces setting the screen for his Panamanian teammate, Ruben Douglas, who nails a three, and Rudy Fernandez can lament to the referee all he wants. Sunshine, you got caught. That's a foul. It's and one, and he wants a foul at the other end. That's what he's moaning for.
4-point play is converted, and they say never foul the jump shooter. Don't foul him when he's shot and he's on his way down. He's already made the shot. Especially when he's one of the best shooters. And the thing about Douglas is he's used to scoring with people hanging all over him. It's this guy here now. He's got the counteract. And this is what Douglas was saying. Make Fernandez make decisions offensively, which means not just catch the ball and shoot. Offensive rebound by Thomas. That was the first shot they managed to get off. They turned it over on the last 2 trips down. And a nice little baseline move gets the first points on the board for Badalona. Yeah, Maiso, he's a strong boy in the lane. You know, played most of his professional career in the NBA, but he's got great experience with the French national team and at UCLA. You know, just choked in the NCAA tournament the weekend, and you'll see this aggressive backcourt here. You know, there Williams going for the steal. And what's good about Williams is, although he goes for the steal, he rarely commits that foul, or he won't get caught for it. He's very strong, low center of gravity, and I think he's going to be very aggressive on what he's calling these young boys, Ricky Rubio. Rubio, nice move to the basket, lays it in, and it's a 2-point ball game. Rubio, because his scoring numbers aren't big, people might underestimate his you know, his value on the court, but he went up for the big stuff there, Fred House, but came back off the back of the ring, but he went up high for that one. Fred House trying to say, who said I'm just a standstill jump shooter? You know, he's a slasher and just belying his 6'3", 6'4" frame. They're trying to pound it on Sonseca. Get back to Rubio, though. You know, he has the scoring ability, and there could be a situation here where he has to reverse his normal role, because if Fernandez does get shut down, Rubio's going to have to come up with the points in the backcourt. Miljevic kicks it out. Shot from the foul line, rims out from Garcias. Well, that's not his game. You know, his job is not to shoot foul line jump shots. His job is to play strong defense. As he's done there, recover back on the defensive end of the floor, create screens, get his teammates open. What did Coach Aita call him? A 4-door wardrobe. Yeah. I've never seen a wardrobe that can shoot, so get the ball out of his hands. That went right through Moiso's hands, so gives the ball back to Valencia. The pull-up from Williams doesn't go. Douglas eventually comes up with the loose ball, and Williams will reset. And Dan Douglas is that pesky rebounder. You know, he reaches in there. Look as he draws another foul on Fernandez. And that's going to be so frustrating for Rudy Fernandez, or Rudy as he just gets called. You know, you're good when you're just a one-name player. Yeah. But, you know, Douglas battles so hard, and he's so, you know, he just sneaks in there, gets his hand on loose balls. You know, I'm loving Valencia a bit too much, because let's not forget that Badalona is also 1 game out of first place in the ACB, so they're not a slouch team by any means. There's Douglas to Williams. The ball comes round to the near side and house, and there's another whistle on the play. And it's going to be a tough one, because Fred House quietly will handle his business, I like to call it. And as Thomas there, the young Spanish forward, he's got his hands full, and he won't get any help. He's got to stop Fred House one-on-one. And Fred House, you know, he's 30 years old. He's already won the ULEB Cup once. He won it with Ritas some years ago. So he can quietly go and get you 15, 18 points as well. That's why I say this game is so evenly matched, despite what the statistics would try to say to you. Pull-up jumper bobbles about. Doesn't go for Douglas. Yeah, House has been for a few years. He's got plenty of experience to bring to this ball game as well. Nice ball movement, finds its way into Moiso. Good spin along the baseline to the reverse layup. And he actually just sold a fake. They thought he was going to kick it back out, and suddenly he was blown past the defense to the layup. I'll tell you, Gar says maybe effective rebounding and setting screens, but what he isn't good at is one-on-one defense in the post. He gets a shot punch there. Lobbed up for the alley-oop. That was always going to be a tough one to toss up there from Rubio. But that's what Rubio does. That alley-oop on the run is what he does well.
Miljevic, you've got to take that shot, Sunshine.
Yeah, he runs away from it, comes all the way back out, 30 feet from basket. Now he drives in. His house. Miljevic again, long way from home. 5 on the shot clock. Shot has to go up. It does go up, and it goes in from Shamar Williams for 3.
And that's a forced shot from him. That's normally I'm just about to say that's a dreadful play. The point guard trying to set the screen on the pick and roll or pick and pop in that instant, but he mails the shot. I mean, it's you know, big time competition, big time situation. It's time for the big time players to step up.
Well, Ricky goes to the bench, and Damod Mallet checking into the game.
Well, there's more of an offensive threat there from Mallet. He's more of a scorer. But it's still early days yet, even though only halfway through the first quarter. You can see this tempo at the moment suits Valencia. So what does Mallet bring to the game to change it into the favor of Badalona? And
oh, beautiful 3 from Lavina. Wow. Way out the top. Ties the game up at 9. We're close to the midway point of the first quarter.
Both teams playing with confidence at the outset, which is great to see.
House with a nice pass out to the corner, but Ruben Douglas' shot doesn't go. That's on the line. Ooh, you got to be careful bouncing the ball like that. He was quick to apologize to the referee, Lavina.
Yeah, the referee.
He's not too far. He did step on the line. That's a good spot by the official, but the bounce there could have got him in trouble. He could have got a tee for it.
There was a technical foul. If this gym was a look. A few more of the corporate seats were filled and they weren't eating prawn sandwiches, and maybe would have called that to get some early. Some great defense there by Jagler. You know, the quote-unquote unknown German kid comes up big.
There's the quick release 3. Oh, beautiful shot from deep too. That was a good 25 feet from Mallet, who steps off the bench and makes an immediate impact.
And that's what Mallet brings to the table. That's the change. That's a nice balance that Coach Aito's got with the guards. And as you hear the Badalona faithful get into full song here, you know, Mallet can make that 3 deep, which is not Rubio's game. Now, who could answer back for Valencia?
Oh! Fred House is the answer to that. He fired up from deep. He didn't believe that was going in, though. You see the way he chased the rebound. And
that's just hustle, Dan.
He was surprised as anybody that it went in. We're tied at 12.
I used to do that, my layups.
Oh, good attempted lob inside, but it was Miljevic who was in the way to tip that one out of bounds. There we go. Some athleticism. You like to see that?
Oh, I love to see.
Coach is coming off, pull the net down.
And that's not, Jagler doesn't need to do that. I know he can shoot the 3, but that's not what he needs to do. He needs to let his team get settled, get the ball in the paint.
I'm liking the energy I'm seeing from Fred House in the opening 6 minutes. Knocked that ball loose there, chased all the way down court after. A lot of guys would have left it. He had no chance really of pulling it down, and another 3.
Mallet stepping up big with that's a really horrible offense. Just dribbled around the top of the key, dribbled off a screen, but you nail the big shot. That makes you the hero. Great finish there.
We've seen some pretty good 3. Oh, nice ball movement. Oh, and a block inside from Moiso.
I'll tell you, Garthez has got to use his left hand. He's trying to get the easy dunk there, and that's where guys built like that, they used to just punking people up.
Yeah.
Moiso says, I don't care. Not in my house, not today.
Yeah, the big Frenchman is very athletic as well, so he can block most people's shots.
Well, he's a big, strong fella. So you should don't underestimate the inside presence, because there's no headline makers in terms of the inside players for the Spanish team.
Oh, what a pass that is from Fernandez.
You know, Sonseca won the ULEB Cup Championship medal, winners medal last year with Real Madrid.
Gets his first points of the game, but really it was the assist from up top that made the basket easy.
Oh, but Fernandez, you know, he's first round pick of the NBA last season.
Oh, there's another great pass. Oh, he missed it though. Douglas, of all people, missing the layup. It was a super pass from the outside, and another 3. That one doesn't go, and there's a whistle on the play, and you can see what Lavina thinks about it. He's certainly letting the referees know what he thinks about every call. Yeah,
well, he was wrong the first time, and I dare say he was wrong the second time. Got a little push in the back. This game here, Dan, it's going such a rapid pace. It's not even time to catch your breath. And normally, I would also say, you know, the ULEB Cup home team wants the game to be quite high scoring. Road team wants it to be low and in the 60s. Neutral court, it's hard to make a call. You know, the score line as it's set right now, it suits Badalona, but the tempo suits Valencia. So, you know, no team is really taking a stranglehold in this game, despite the scoreboard.
2 minutes to go in the game, and there's a challenge on the shot from Jagler, and the ball got pinned in to the ring. Another look, he goes up, gets a nice piece of that, sticks it into the basket.
Jagler, great start to the game. Has come out strong. 27-year-old, 2 minutes 13. That's 7 feet plus in old money.
Well, they're going to count the shot clock back down.
That's it.
They say it didn't hit the ring. It was stuck to the ring. How did it not hit the ring?
And also, if that's a jump ball situation, surely the ball's stuck in the ring.
No, it doesn't reset if the same team keeps the ball.
Oh, well, I'm glad my official maker is here.
And there's a foul. That's the second foul on a three-point shot in this first quarter. And Mallett's protesting his innocence.
But Sunshine, the camera never lies. And there's that little tap. He's shaking down. If he feels that touch on the arm, that's the time he takes it in. I've seen even softer calls than that. Shoot, as you said, never foul the jump shooter. If you contest it, I've seen officials to call a foul just by having a hand in their face.
Yeah.
You know, you got to go straight up in the air. If you lean forward at all, you're just dicing with death.
First of three free throws is good for Williams.
I'm going to give the commentators curse on him, but there's some pretty outstanding free throw shooters in this game, and this is one of them. 87% from the line, Shamon Williams. And you've got Fred House and his team shooting at 90%. And incredibly, you've got Rudy Fernandez, who shoots a lot of free throws at 94%. That's
unbelievable, that is. 94% for a guy that goes to the line a lot. That is unbelievable. Here's Williams again on the offensive rebound. Looking for some help, can't really find any. Shot clock's gone down to 10. They wasted 14 seconds there, did nothing. Still not passing the ball, and eventually he fires up. That's a terrible offense for 2 points. Wow. That is a terrible offense for 2 points.
But they got the points in the bag. That's what counts. You know, and that's what happens in this time. You know, we watched that first quarterfinal where Galatasaray led the whole time, and then Besiktas come back and just, you know, you can never. It's the unscripted theatre that basketball is. You know, it really is. You know, the coaching manual says, run a solid offense, otherwise bad things happen to you. Look at that dreadful offense, bucket.
Oh, right through the hands there of Bottom, but fortunately they do keep it. And the three ball goes up from Lavina, goes in, and we've seen some threes here in this first quarter. Plenty of long-range efforts fired up. That's the, what is it, 7th of the first quarter between the two sides.
And they're making them as well. They're not just bad shots. And the referee gets a travel call down Milojevich. And he's the one player I'm expecting big things from, who has been exceptionally quiet so far. We already saw him. He turned down an a relatively easy bucket early on. Hard-nosed player, used to, you know, missed a double-double consistently. 20 points and 10 boards, night in, night out. Hasn't even got a number. Well, he's got a number. He's got a travel to his name like just then.
Yeah, very quiet in the opening 9 minutes of this ball game. Nowhere for Fernandez to go, so he comes all the way back out. There's a foul on the play.
And you can see they're hounding Fernandez, and that's because, as Ruben Douglas said, is they want to make other players beat them. If they're going to lose this game, it's not because Rudy goes off for 40, because that's what they don't want to allow to. I'd like to see a nice veteran come in the game, and you know what a nice situation to be. You sit down Fred House, who's ULEB Cup winner, and you bring in Taminska, someone like that, who just doesn't make mistakes. You know, he's not the fleetest of foot, but you know, she was like 65% from everywhere on the floor. And just a nice balance to both teams here.
Mallet stepping under, nice play. And he's really provided a spark off the bench here in this first quarter.
Well, he's been outstanding. He had a great career, a few years in Germany, in Cologne last season, where he was played so well, and he just upped his game. The ACB is known as the best single nation league in the world. Well, I'd say Tominskas doesn't make any mistakes. The first thing he does, blooming well travels.
Well, there's time for a quick shot. You got 2 or 3 dribbles, and then a quick shot. There it is, fired up.
That's a foul as well. That's criminal.
So, but the thing is, we said, how many threes have gone in the ball game already? 7. One of them was an and one. We had another one where Williams went to the line shooting 3 free throws. And we've got another opportunity here for Lubos Barton going to the line for 3. And why are you fouling a guy with 0.7 seconds to go in the quarter as well?
And that was Milijevic as well, stepping up. You know, he'll say just put a hand up, but come on, Sunshine. It's like there was no lack of alertness. That's the difference between second place, battling for the championship in the ACB, and 5th place, just battling for playoff contention. So over the course of the season, that's why Badalona is the best team. But in tonight, well, I mean, look at that. That's just turned what should have been a 4-point game into a 5-point swing there.
Yeah, I mean, what a really poor play at the end. Valencia came out firing in the opening few minutes of the game, but Badalona have come back at the end of one. It's 25-16. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Turin. It's the second quarterfinal, and Badalona leading Valencia by 9 here. And we've been talking about the 3-point shooting. Look at that. 7 of 15 between the two teams, but Badalona 4 of 7. And add to that the 3 free throws they made right on the buzzer there. Too many extra point efforts, really.
And, you know, Valencia comfortable living and dying by the 3 there with Douglas and Lavina with the sweet jumper early on. One team's going to have to establish an inside presence. I thought it was going to be Joventut and Badalona early on when Moiso got the nice jump hook, but they're just banging them in like this. I mean, as you say, 7 shots in the threes in the first quarter. Bear in mind, Ruben Douglas has scored 9 threes in a single game this season by himself, so this game here could end up being some fireworks.
But the scoring pace of it, Badalona are on pace for 100 points in a game of this magnitude. You just wouldn't expect to see that.
No, you won't expect to see that, and Valencia will be scared as well. Down by 9, although, as I said, the tempo's in their favor, but they know that Badalona's got the potential to blow them away, so they're gonna have to step up. And guys like this, Milojevic's gonna have to get some scores. Big too much hard work there.
Yeah, there was nobody really taking it to the basket, and in the end, Fonseca with the block.
Well, I just stood there. I remember somebody used to block shots like that with no feet standing off the floor. Morales doing 7 pump fakes and a spin move, got his shots on his throat, goes down to the other end, commits a foul.
Who is this mystery person?
Well, we won't name names.
One of the all-time leading shot blockers in British basketball.
But people don't realise he couldn't jump over a sheet of paper.
It's all about timing. It's a foul on the rebound.
An aggressive rebounding here we're seeing from Badalona. They're gang attacking the glass when they shoot there. That time Fonseca shoot the 15-footer, and then you've got 2 other guys crashing in. So that missed shot, and they see them green jerseys coming in there, and that's where the foul's committed that time by Oliva. We're talking about Milijevic, who just picked up his 2nd foul there, and how he hasn't been much of an offensive threat so far. This guy scored 131 points in a game when he was very young in Serbia, but wow, that's kind of offensive.
131 points in a game. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know, it's reportedly scored. Yeah. That's his career high, 131 points in Belgrade. Now,
who are you playing against? That's what I want to know.
His cat.
Oh, it was nearly nice. Good ball movement. Got to get a shot off. That's a tough one. That's a really tough one. And it doesn't go. Falling back from the 3-point line. Still had 5 seconds on the shot clock.
Well, they overpassed the ball, but I mean, that's a bit showtime. It's a bit early in the game. It's showtime, isn't it? At the beginning of the 2nd quarter.
About 28 minutes too early.
You do showtime if you're in the 3rd and 4th place playoff, or if you're up by 40 points in the championship game.
With a minute to go. anything can happen. I mean, we saw in the first quarterfinal that anything can happen, because in that game, Besiktas were getting beat all the way through. They were getting beat by double digits for most of the game, and then suddenly with 8 seconds to go, they're up 2, and it's only a last gasp 3-pointer that sees Galatasaray through to the next round.
Well, we've got to see Douglas has got to get his hand on the ball a bit more if Valencia's going to get back in it. You've got to have the shots taken by the right players, and that's not what's happening for them at the moment. They're only down by 9. It's amazing. After 25-point first quarter by Badalona, scoreless so far in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah, but really Valencia not taking advantage of that. That's the thing. You stop the other team from scoring, you got to go down and put some points on the board, or else that 9-point lead doesn't change.
Yeah, that's what I said. That tempo's slowing down now, so it's starting to get more in the favor and to the liking of Badalona, where their defensive pressure will start to take a toll. Valencia's got to get that tempo up and down, and Tominskas, I talk about him making all these shots, and he's just bricked too. He's had Douglas wide open in the corner on both occasions.
Well, the other thing to remember about this game, we played best part of 13 minutes now, and Valencia came out and hit 6 points in about 45 seconds with that 4-point play and the nice move on the opening offense, and they've hit 10 points since then.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the worrying thing from their perspective.
And those first 6 points called by Williams and Douglas, and since then, you've had Victor Claver rather trying to shoot the big threes, and he's, another Spanish superstar as he gets a strong rebound. Got to get the ball in the hands of the players that can make a difference.
That's a tough shot there by Douglas, falling off balance.
But you don't care if Douglas, because he takes 20 shots a game. I don't care what he shoots, but the other guys have got to take smart shots.
And the other thing is, he can hit tough shots. He can hit shots that other guys wouldn't even think about taking.
A great execution there. Lubos Barton just sold Victor Claver, the easy pump step, jab stepped up the lane, just roll back to the basket, and the alley-oop pass from Rudy Fernandez. Claver's got to step up a little bit. I know his reputation's preceding him a little bit at the moment.
There's some bodies going in the low post, but that's some great help defense from up top to come and strip the ball clear.
We've seen Valencia drop off the pace before. When we called them earlier on in the season, they played against the Greek team, rather the Polish team on the road, and they just didn't come to play, and they went a bit soft, and Coach Katsikaris couldn't get them the energy reined in, and sure enough, timeout coming. He's got to get Williams back in the game. That's the first most important thing. Tominskas there, not really pleased with picking the foul.
You mentioned that game from earlier in the season there, Martin, but there's a difference to being away in Poland to being in the quarterfinals of the ULEB Cup.
Yeah, this is where the intensity, you bring it to the court yourself.
Exactly.
This is why I kind of sense I could smell an upset potential, because you've got strong leadership in Douglas and Williams and Fred House, and veteran experience in Tominskas, and the backup guard Oliver, 30 years old, been around the block a little bit. These guys are going to play strong, but they came out the gates really strong, but now they're almost a little bit more starstruck. But it's not been the superstar Ricky Rubio that's been their Achilles heel. It's been a team effort. DeMarc Mallett's made a couple of big threes.
It's guys coming off the bench like Mallett and like Lavino who's come off and hit a couple of threes. But I mean, we talk about Ruben Douglas. He hit his first shot of the game for a 4-point play. He's missed the last 6.
Yeah, but he's not taken the right kind of shots, which is why you need the point guard, and he's back on the floor, Shamon Williams.
Well, here is Douglas, and as you say, I think he's been a little lost with Williams not out on the court, and Fred House has been on the bench for a fair bit, and he came out with some life and some energy, and they just seem to have lost that.
Yeah, I'm surprised House isn't in the game at the moment. He's the guy that, he's that spark. Great pass there by Rubio. Wow. it's great to play with somebody like that who's just got all the time in the world. And the thing is, they're jumping out on him, almost double team. The guy, and everybody know in the gym, there are people outside the gym know who's going to pass the basketball. Yet still they put pressure on him. Look at that one-hand bounce pass, perfect for the 7-footer Sonseca, who picks up the foul, and Tominskas just does the only thing he can do, when what he should have done, of course, was been in front of him, anticipating the pass.
Sonseca makes the first free throw.
And
what do we have? 3 points in this whole quarter so far?
Yeah, it's something as miserly as that. That's the 3rd point of the quarter. And
which after a 25-16 first quarter is pretty surprising.
Well, 41 points, you're looking at a 160-point game. Now all of a sudden a 3-point quarter. Now there's full court pressure. So you think the tempo's going to get even faster.
It's that backcourt, it is. Backcourt violation. Stepped over the line. That's the one thing when you're going forward, you got to make sure you keep going forward once you get close to that line.
It's just a one-trap press. It's just to slow the pace of the ball, and Tominskas is not the guy who should bring the ball over half court. So whoever's the point guard's got to come and get in there.
House back into the game. There was some good hustle there to knock that ball loose. It'll be an end-line ball to Badalona.
And it's always the temptation if you're down by this many, 13 points. How long does Coach Katsikaris wait before he goes small? And he gets Harris, Williams, and Douglas on the floor together with Tominskas at the quote-unquote power forward position. Wow. I said Rubio can't score, and there he goes.
Guns a 3, and this one is really getting away from Valencia at the minute. They've got to find some way of scoring. Here's Williams in the corner. That one doesn't go. Another defensive rebound off to the races. You got to, yeah, Ricky with an easy layup. Martin signaling timeout here. And you're right, they need a timeout. They haven't scored yet in this quarter.
Wow.
They haven't scored they've scored 10 points in the last, 16 minutes. I mean, they really have dropped off. They came out with all the intensity, but everything has really fallen away from them. And really, Valencia desperately needing this timeout to sort themselves out. Ricky off to the races, lays it in, and it really has been one-way traffic here since about the midpoint of the first quarter. Joventut Badalona with 9 unanswered points here in this second period. They haven't actually played that well in the second period.
Well, they played that well defensively.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Well,
but offensively, they've, they've struggled a bit. 9 points only.
Well, don't forget, it's a 34-10
Look at those numbers.
I mean, they just... This is why they've developed into such a strong team, and, why my whole idea of a potential upset is just getting shattered at the moment. Look at those numbers.
Yeah.
2 for 13 from inside the three-point line. So even though their three-point percentage you could live with, they're not scoring anywhere. I mean... But
it is why it is, because they've taken bad shots. Yeah. They've not taken good shots. And even when they've got inside, they haven't really dominated. We've seen a few block shots in there. The big men haven't really asserted their authority inside. So they've been struggling to find even mid-range jumpers.
Well, they've tried to go to Morales in the low post, and all he's done is managed to turn the ball over as Rubio almost gets another steal. And this is one of the best stealers of a basketball on the planet at 17 years old. And there's not even argued, it's not even a discussion point. Leading stealer in the EuroLeague last season, leading stealer in the ULEB Cup this year. Just long arms, great anticipation and timing, not explosive speed, but just a great all-round
what a block from
player.
House. The other thing he has is a good low center of gravity, and it's much easier to steal the ball from down underneath than to try and come down over the top.
Absolutely. He doesn't slap down, his hands lift up. You say his knees are bent all the time. It's great court awareness, and the comparisons, early comparisons have been made between him and one pistol Pete Maravich. But I think you can go even... He's not that style of game. He reminds you of a very young and skinny Magic Johnson type. He just does everything for the floor. He'll just do what it takes for his team to win.
Oh, nice little crossover, but the big German was in the way there, Jagler, to force the poor shot, and a good steal at the defensive end. They've got numbers here. Williams kicks it back out to Douglas. They're desperate for anything. Oh, and even House's shot is blocked by Sonseca. And Sonseca basically just stands there in the middle and says, come over me if you can.
Yep, and they're playing pity-pat with anything in the paint, and they're bricking from the three-point line. It doesn't look good for Valencia at the moment.
It certainly does, and there's another foul inside the basket will count as well. It is really, really hard work at the moment for them. They just can't get anything going. They haven't scored since the 9th minute of the first quarter. And
well, that picture there tells a story.
Yeah, I know. Look at that.
And Garces, he's a guy who just hasn't come to the party either, and Coach Katsukara is not shaking his head in frustration. And yes, he's cool and relaxed, but you look at the rankings of his team as well. Nobody's given any real positive numbers on that. The entire team. There's only Shimon Williams who's in the plus at the moment. What do you do? Down by 20 after 17 points? I guess I'm supposed to be the expert. You find a way to score.
There we go. Finally got one. It's taken, what, 8 minutes since their last basket, but they finally got one. And I guess you just got to look at it in chunks. Okay, here we go. We got 3.5 minutes to halftime. We're down 36-19. Let's try and get to, I don't know, 40-27 or something like that. Well, 40-30. Try and get it back close to 10.
10 points is the target, but the really worrying thing is Jackson, another long jumper, is Rudy Fernandez is yet to score. So the main scorer for Badalona hasn't even put a number on the scoreboard yet.
And referees overruling each other there. And I think when all is said and done, Valencia are going to keep the ball. Although both guys going to inbound it there. And it's a football violation that's in the end been called, so it'll be a Valencia ball with the new shot clock.
Let's not get too carried away against Valencia at the moment. Yes, they're down by 17 points, but there's 3 minutes left. If you can hold Badalona under 40 points, that's your target. Keep them down, so maybe 4 points the rest of the way, and you can get 10 yourself. It's a manageable sort of beast that you're up against. It's not the end of the world yet, because you have got 20 minutes left. And guys like Douglas can score in a hurry.
House went halfway through the shot there, but managed to keep one foot on the ground. Oh, nice. House, oh my goodness, went through, but Moizo said no.
Wow, and he didn't even, just blocked the shot out of bounds, and the House is saying, come on, ref, at least give me a foul or something. But
it was a beautiful move, though.
Well, he's going for the spectacular. When I'm down by 17, you know what I need? I need the 2. Just
you do need the 2, but what you get with a play like that, if he throws it down, gets an and one, you get a little bit of a momentum kick for the team. I guess that's what he's thinking of, trying to spark some life.
But he gets blocked like that. It's a momentum kick for the
other team. Yeah, nice move from Yagla.
Yeah, see, now Yagla's saying if Moiso's got it, he's handling things on defense, then I'll go down and off and shoot threes, spinning hook shots. This guy here, Milajevic, got to come up with something.
There you go, he gets his 2 this time.
Gets the strong 2.
House driving to the basket, takes it to the right hand.
Still Rudy not taking that 3. And see, now Badalona have gone small. They've moved Fernandez to the small 4, which is oftentimes where he can be the most effective.
Oh, that's beautiful. Shot doesn't go. Fast break, got numbers. Oh, House managed to save it, gets it inside to Milajevic, and he lays that one in, and they almost looked like they lost it for a second there, but eventually Milajevic was there, and a timeout has been called in the ball game.
It's quickly just a 4-2 run, and straight away Coach Aito calls timeout. Got to get his team in there, talk it through, and make sure that this lead doesn't get eaten into too much.
Yeah, Coach Aito, he understands the game, that even just 4 points, because they've come in a hurry, one nice move and one where they just about got it done, you can get a little bit of momentum. And for what we're saying one moment ago, that if Valencia can get it back to 10, he'll be saying, let's try and get it out to 20.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point, Dan. And what he really wants to do, of course, is make sure he's got control going into the half. what you do by calling the timeout in this last minute and a half of the second quarter is you deflate the halftime speech of the opposition coach, because he's got to go in and yell and scream at his team, but what he's got to do now is try and play out the rest of this last 40 seconds. And finally, Fred House gets the bucket, and Ruben Douglas on the 4-point play, one of the rare positives this game. Moiso, who's been, a man-child, just intimidatory on defense.
Yeah, I mean, in the middle there, you've got Sonseca, Moiso, who've been blocking shots, and it puts you off going back in there. Mallet fires up for three off the back of the ring. Moiso tips that one back out. Nice pass and kicked into the corner, guns it.
Wow. So the thing is, he's got 15, 18 points at least coming out of Fernandez. And what a glorious thing. Up by 15 points, and Fernandez hasn't scored. And it's not because he's been shut down, so his points are all still to come. Gus,
he heard you, Martin. He was waiting for you. Said you wanted to see him shoot it.
I wish that was true.
He certainly did.
I'll be on my betting account right now talking about the scores.
Mallet for three. Count the basket. Wow. Foul is called as well. I'm not sure if it was on the arm or on the screen, but there was a foul called. And we were just saying, the coach Aito calls that timeout, trying to stop a tiniest of runs in the game, and suddenly out of the timeout, his lead's gone up to 21 points.
And it's amazing, isn't it? Just, you are almost like a genius, like a visionary, Dan. One of his stud players, Milojevic's got to sit down because he's not performing. Coach Katsikaris, you get blitzed like this on the road in a foreign country after you've gone through Terminal 5 at London Heathrow with a 27-hour delay. You've had nothing to eat. You can understand that. Yeah. These teams have both come in fresh.
Yep.
Valencia had a big win on the weekend on the road in the Spanish League. They're comfortable. They've got no pressure. Maybe they're intimidated. I don't know what the word is. And Garces, I knew that was going to miss.
He's just been awful from 2.5 feet tonight.
Yeah. Craig, that's a horrible indictment against you.
Mallet, that one was a little bit too long for three.
Got to get off to the races now. They've got to score, get some quick, easy buckets.
House drives the baseline, kicks out in the corner for three. Ruben Douglas hits one, but it's still been Joventut Badalona's half. No doubt about that, as they tick down the last offense of it. And if they can just get a bucket, they'll be up 20. They might even be up 21. That one doesn't go. And House with the rebound. Enough time to run back the other way. Lobbed up quick. Oh, and he stepped on the line. Yeah, stepped on the line.
Garces has had what we call technically in the trade a mare.
He certainly has.
Nightmare.
There'll be a long pass, catch and shoot. And a long pass, catch and shoot the other way. That was after the buzzer, even if it had gone in. But what a half for Joventut Badalona. They lead 44-26. It really has been a dominant game. Remember, Valencia came out, scored the first 6 points of this ball game, but they find themselves 44-26 behind at halftime. It really is a huge hole for them to try and get out of. And Shamar Williams is going to try and tell us how they are going to get out of it.
Fantastic first half. Is there anything you should change for the second half?
Just stay aggressive, continue to pick up the intensity on defense and just stay aggressive. Defense, it changes the game, and the momentum is going our way. So, just stay aggressive on the defensive end and just relax on offense and it'll come.
Thank you.
All right, now.
That was Jamal Mallet, surprisingly enough. You're
surprised that Shamar Williams didn't stick around for the interview?
Funny that one, wasn't it? But, really, he just said they got to stay aggressive on defense. But really, Valencia needs to come with some offense. 4 of 20 shooting from 2-point land. That's terrible.
And being held to 10 points in the second quarter makes it respectable. Bear in mind, they were scoreless until the last 3 minutes of the quarter. They just got nailed.
But what about that 3-point shooting from Joventut there? 7 of 17 That's a lot of shots to take, but a lot to make.
And they're also making them, though. I mean, that's not a bad percentage. That's in the 40% region, which works into, you know, in 2% land. That's in 69%.
It's twice as good. It's twice as good as what Valencia is shooting. Well, it's going to need some halftime team talk for Valencia. They trail by 18. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Turin, where Badalona have, well, they've almost got 1 foot in the semi-final. The way they played that first half. 44-26 the score. The 3-point shooting 7 of 17, and really the other thing that stands out for them, they've been blocking shots inside, is they've got points from all over the place. They got, I think, half a dozen guys who've scored 5 or more points.
Yeah, and you look at that, you know, Damon Mallet has come up with 11 points. Okay, you accept that, but then bonus points across the board. You know, Jagler with the great hook shot inside, although he's shooting over 4 on threes, needs to stop shooting those. But Hernandez Sanseca, he's come up with 6 points, just layups. Lavina, 2 bonus threes, you know, that it's just a great bonus effort across. Moiso, perfect from the field. Everybody's chipping in. As we were saying, the scary thing is Rudy Fernandez has only had 3 points so far. He is going to get to his 12-15, so they've got that's money in the bank. You know, Rubio, efficiency personified as always. It's a really difficult position that Coach Katsikaris and Pamesa Valencia see themselves in, because it's been a team effort. And this guy here, Ruben Douglas, is going to have to come up with some numbers. We say 2 for 9 in the first half.
I mean, but they're shooting all the way down the line. I mean, Garcia's has been 1 for 6 from the floor. They've just missed shots all over the place. That, yeah. I mean, that's the killer. They went 8 minutes without scoring. I mean, where are they going to get it from? That's the question.
Well, they can only get it where they're supposed to get it from, and that's Milijevic is going to have to step up and get some scoring. Douglas is going to have to score. Williams, who's actually done a pretty solid job, you know, as I said, quiet but unspectacular but effective. But the wrong guys have been shooting the ball as well. I mean,
well, we look at Milijevic here. He just didn't look like he wanted it inside. And when he did get it, he went running out to the 3-point line with the ball. He just didn't look dominant enough in there.
This is a guy who gets you 13 points and 6 rebounds every night of the week, and he hasn't come up with anything so far. And that's the thing that scares you. You know, he should be on 6, 7, 8 at least by now. You know, and you know. Across the board, Valencia haven't performed. Let's just call it what it is. Meanwhile, on Badalona's side, you know, some of the better players have just done what they do, but the role players have stepped up, and that's what you. That's why it's 3 games. That's what's good about this 8-team format.
Well, I'm sure it wouldn't have been pleasant in the Valencia locker room at halftime, but let's look at it the other way for Badalona, for Coach Aito. I mean, he's got to try and guard against his team, going out being very complacent and not really being able to relax. And here is Coach Aito. And we've been asking him what he's told them at halftime. And that's exactly what you would expect. He said, don't relax, because we've got a big margin, but keep the rhythm going, keep it ticking over. And really, I think this game could be decided in the next 5 minutes in how Badalona come out here. If they come out a bit lax, they could let Valencia back into the game. Suddenly it gets down to 10 and everything gets interesting.
Well, Valencia scored the first 6 points of the game. They score 6 quick points here, they get very excited, down to 12, which all of a sudden means it's achievable, because then you're going to chip away, get it under 10. But remember that the first quarter, the tempo, the rhythm, as Coach Aito was just talking about, was very much in the favor of Valencia, and that's what he's got to guard against. If they get the up-tempo, running and gun, it could work in their favor. And guys like Douglas, as we said, can get hot in a hurry. 9 3-pointers he scored on the road against Kimki. If he gets it going and starts filling it up, this game gets entertaining. So it's defensively, Badalona have got to keep the tempo in their favor.
That is really, I think, you've hit the nail on the head there, Martin. It is all about Badalona's defense coming out. They surely won't keep that three-point percentage going all the way through the game. Maybe they will, but if they can be as impactful in the zone the way they've been in the first half, they should be onto a good thing. Here we go then, second half action. Valencia in orange will get us underway, and boy, could they do with a good start here.
I'll come back with this, with their starting five here, and see how quickly they can get things going.
Douglas under pressure, good steal, great
see
play.
that coming already, and Rubio off to the races.
Rubio with the little stutter reverse layup, not quite.
Doesn't matter if he misses that shot though, because he's got the steal, and look at that. There's 30 seconds off the clock. Nothing bad's happened.
Williams with a nice bounce pass into Miljevic, kicks it out into the corner for three, and guns, but they've hit a three there from Taminskas, but I'd have liked to see Miljevic stamp some authority and go up there.
Yeah, me too, and it's interesting that he's still bailing out with a wide open layup, and that's great. Taminskas makes the three, and he's the only change from the starting five from Valencia. Is Fred House taking the blame for that first half performance? I don't know, but look at this here. Same story. Garces giving us nothing on the inside.
Well, the one thing about Fred House is he at least gave some energy in that first half. He may not have put up much better numbers than anybody else, but at least he was playing hard.
Well, I did say at some point in time that Coach Katsikaris will have to go small and go with the House at the, and Douglas and Williams. Taminskas moving across to the 4 almost position. And I was thinking that Vigar says, but it looks like you might have to go with Miljevic in the middle, and that's a really undersized team, and they're getting beasted on the rebounds. As Jagler again, just looking like he's belying his 7-foot clumsy body frame. He's really playing outstanding possession. In presence on the floor is what he's got.
Nice little lob inside, kicked out, wide open for three. Doesn't go for Rubio. Ball on the floor. Jump ball, says the referee, and possession arrow is facing Badalona's way, so they will get possession of the ball. I hate this arrow, Toss it up, let them jump.
I don't know, what are we protecting against? I've always wondered what they were trying to stop by having possession arrows, and jump balls don't hold up the game.
I don't know, maybe the referees couldn't throw it straight, and that was the thing.
Yeah, take away the opportunity for them to cheat.
I think he was throwing up a pass there. Yeah. And foul is called. Rubio with the bump.
And that's an intentional foul.
It is,
well.
yeah.
He was trying to make sure that Douglas didn't get the left. There's that grab.
Oh, actually, having seen it from that angle, he went through the arm towards the ball.
Oh, when I say intentional, he knew he was going to commit a foul. He was always going to commit the foul. He wanted to make sure that Douglas didn't get the easy layup. It stops the game. It breaks the game up so the momentum doesn't get to build for the team that scores. And to have a 17-year-old kid thinking like that,
that's smart.
That's when you start to realize that the size of his talent.
Yeah, you can't really measure the sort of understanding of the game, the knowledge of the game. You can see how well he passes the ball, you can see how well he steals the ball, you can see his ball handling control, but you can't stat the knowledge of the game. That
court savvy, as they call it, whatever your basketball announcers it's sometimes called. You can't coach that, you can't teach somebody that. Shamon Williams almost getting another steal.
And the weird thing, going back to that, the weird thing about it is that's one of those things that usually gets better with age. You understand the game the longer you've played it. So come back in 10 years' time, how good's he going to be?
No, it's terrifying. It really is scary. I saw a discussion the other day with somebody trying to compare, asking who's the greater prospect, Ricky Rubio or Derrick Rose, this great point guard out of Memphis University. And Rose on everybody's stat sheet would be number one, but I don't know. You watch this kid Rubio play, and you're right. It's in 10 years' time, this guy could be a blend of Stockton, Magic Johnson, and Jordan all rolled into one. Okay, I'm going a bit far. He could never be as good as John Stockton.
But yeah, no, it's a good comparison actually with Rose, who it'll be interesting to see in 10 years' time where the two kids are coming up through the different paths, coming up through European basketball, coming up through American high school and college basketball.
Much I like to wax lyrical about how good Rubio is, I also don't want to lose track of why we're here, which is the Final 8 ULEB Cup, and you know, we're admiring the performance of Rubio, but already, you know, they're going deep into the benches. Peter Popovich gets out of the court, so second sitting down. And this is where Coach Aito is starting to think ahead. He's saying, right, I'm up by 15. I know the run is coming. I'll get some of my bench players in here, get everybody a few minutes.
So that when the run comes, his starters are fresh.
Yeah, and also he's thinking, I've got to get 3 games out of my guys. So this is a coach who's here thinking about winning. Whereas Coach Katsikaris, he's got to find his best 5 and go with them the rest of the way.
You got to give everything you've got now, because there is no tomorrow if you don't win.
And Milojevich isn't thinking about posting up, and Williams is telling him to, and he's made him. He's just gone back to him 3-4 times there.
And he caught him for a 3-second violation.
Well, and this is the thing, Dan. I've played with point guards like this before. Williams took the ball to his side. Douglas came over to him, tried to say, no, get out of here. Threw it to the high post. Milojevich still didn't post up. Got it back, and he stood there and waited, threw it in there. And now he can say, I'm telling you, you're not doing anything. Give me something.
You had a point guard tell you to post up, Martin? Never.
No, never. I've seen. It never happened to me. I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
I've witnessed it. And then truly entertaining it is, because sometimes point guards, they're a law unto themselves, and they lead by example. You know, it's very rarely that it's verbal communication. It's proof of pudding. You know, that's what he's done there. So, right, you've done nothing. Here you go. Now, when I come back, you better be ready to play. Douglas gets ripped again. And now the Rubio and Fernandez show is beginning to slowly take effect.
But, I mean, I said the first 4 or 5 minutes would be key to see whether Valencia are going to come back into this game as we take another look at that fast break and the foul by Williams. But almost nothing has happened. It's 5-2 in this quarter. There's been a few scrappy plays here and there. There's been no real flow or rhythm, and that suits the team that's winning by 15.
No, of course it is. Of course it does. You know, what is the positive? The positive for Valencia, well, you know, they've only moved the score on by now 4 points in the first few minutes. But you've got to get something else going, you know, and that's what Katsikaris is saying. He's looking, saying, where's the offense coming from? You said it. No matter how good defensively Valencia gets this half, they've got to find a way to score.
Because at the end of the day, they could stop them scoring for the whole rest of the game, but if they don't put 18 points on the board, they're still going to lose.
Yeah, and it's scary, you know. There, Tominska's had a layup at the other end, and he blows it after a great pass from Williams. Get down to the other end, another foul defense. So they've got to get the scoreboard ticking over, and because that's not happening, that's the more concerning thing for them than it is the fact that, you know, they're giving up 48 points. They're not scoring themselves.
Because I don't think, all right, 48 might be a little bit high for this point in the game, but it's not too far off the trajectory that they would have looked at coming into this game. It's just they've only scored 31 points themselves.
Exactly. I mean, they gave up 25 in the first quarter, which was tough to come back from. But then, you know, it's their offensive output, and then all of a sudden an unsportsmanlike foul called. Wow, I talk about great free throw shooters. Williams misses. Fernandez misses. That's a guy who's 35 for 37, 94% coming in the game, and he missed his first. Talk about a team that's relaxed.
Look, he's saying there's something wrong with the ring now. He's not straight or something. I don't miss free throws. There must be something wrong with the basket.
Yeah, well, they're not going to let you shoot it again, young fella. That'll be interesting. Now, you talk about an electric, free-flowing, scoring player that Fernandez is. This guy's been drafted by the Phoenix Suns. If he goes to the NBA with that run-and-gun team, I can't even imagine the sort of numbers they're going to put up.
It's really been a stop-start. third quarter here, 4 minutes we've played, but really there's been no flow to it. We've seen layups missed, we've seen things bobble out of bounds.
And that's exactly what Coach Aito wants.
Yeah.
So yeah, more of the same. And look, you've got Garces trying to run the point effectively.
A little block foul. I think it'll be on Popovic.
Yeah, stuck a leg out there. It's a really difficult position to be in here, because if you're the team that's down, it's no longer down to your lack of effort. Now you've got to try and find this team spark. You've got to get something going, and it can't be sparked off one play. It has to be a complete team effort, and because they're just so poor at the moment, there's always somebody that's going to let them down.
They need a little streak. Oh, nice. There we go. Garcia's inside, lays one in. Goes now 2 for 7.
18 points. Yeah. Thinking about this again, we're trying to find the positive for Valencia, the situation at the moment. Dan, if they're only down by 12 or 15 by the end of this quarter, they won't be too worried. That's a manageable deficit. But I mean, they lost by 30 in the Kings Cup a few weeks ago, and that's what's bobbing at the back of their mind.
Yeah.
And that's what I think Coach Aito's banking on.
But you're still playing a team that, all right, it doesn't matter how many you lost by, you've still beaten them. Good ball movement. Garcia's inside. Oh, what a block coming from the help side. Jagadela blocks it. Other and Malik for 3. What a play. What a swing made by the German at one end and finished by Mallet at the other.
Well, like I said, you can mail this one in, folks. I mean, Badalona really shown why they are the favorite, and have been throughout this competition. From the day one of this season, when they drew Guildford Heat in the ULEB Cup, everybody said, if you want to see one team, one game this season, get down to the Guildford Spectrum if you're a British fan and watch them play. Because this team here is a potential European champion. And this guy here, Victor Claver, 12 months ago, how the world changes. This kid here was being heralded as one of the great European prospects in the same mold as Jorge Garbajosa, and now he's just not giving his team anything. Now I'm sure at 18, 19 years old, it's going to be everybody's fault but his. But he's a guy you would expect to bring something to the table. It's just easy to rip into the team that's down by 19 points, I know, but you know, you want something positive to come out of this game. And what's positive moment is, wow, this Badalona team, I wouldn't want to play them tomorrow.
No, you really wouldn't. We saw before the game, sitting in the crowd, the Galatasaray players. I mean, I assume they've probably gone by now. They probably went at half-time, but you know, it's a very daunting prospect.
Yep, it is. And tomorrow morning, shoot-around practice, they've got to take a look and try to decide what they're going to do to try and hold this team down. And you know, they would have scouted both teams potentially ahead of what they're getting ready to play in the semi-final, and they've just got to come in with one chance at it. I mean, at the moment it looks like the strongest team on paper is being the strongest team on the scoreboard. Don't forget, they've been the best team in the ULEB Cup throughout the season at 13-1, second best team in the Spanish league behind only Real Madrid. They're doing exactly what it says on the can.
Yeah, we shouldn't really be too surprised. I guess we're not really surprised with Badalona. We've just been a bit disappointed with the way Valencia have gone at it.
Well, capitulated is a word that springs to mind.
Nice drive along the baseline and laid in by Claver.
Well, that's when he's on a wrong, when he's on song, that's what he does well. There's this defensive end. Now look, there's this cutting, slicing motion that Badalona always run as Rubio almost steals in there and gets a rebound.
That was a nice offense though. The Mallet coming off the high screen, slightly out of control is Douglas. House backs out.
Oh, they're taking too long to make something happen. Douglas.
Along the baseline, little mid-range jumper. He's not had a great shooting night, Ruben Douglas.
And I'll tell you, Dan, part of the problem is they're not getting anything going to the basket like that.
Yeah.
Because when they go for layups, they're getting their shots smacked back down. I mean, how many block shots have they had against them? 6 so far. So they're pulling up for jump shots. You're not going to beat anybody with jump shots only. Whereas Rubio at the other end, lay up to the cup. There's no shot blocker out there.
You missed 2 down the bottom there from Moisa. They've had 8 block shots, Badalona. And as you say, I mean, as you know, being a master shot blocker yourself, that intimidates the other team. When you go in there and you keep seeing it come back out, I mean, that puts you up. We were talking earlier about Milijevic not really wanting to take it. Well, if you keep getting your stuff thrown back out at you.
He wants no part of it. He's seen what's happened to Ruben Garces and says, you know what, I'm not going to be a highlight film. Forget that.
I don't want to be somebody else's highlight
package. Try and set some screens. So now they're reduced to shooting jump shots, which is exactly what you can't do if you want to get back in this. You've got the most important thing to do is get some stops, and they're not getting them. Down by 19. You know, he said this, they could cut it down to 12 or 15. They could still be in it. The reason to stick with this game is you know, it's because it's 3 games in 4 days, such a short space of time. It's great to see the story unfold. And to see, you know, anything can happen. There can be an injury, there can be a fallout between players. And Badalona just seems so calm and in control. And it's from top to bottom, from 1 through 12. Every player's done what he's supposed to have done. I can't see a player that's performed badly. That's because it's reflected in those defensive numbers.
First free throw is short. Lavino hit those 2 3-pointers in the first half off the bench. Rims out on both of them. 3rd foul on Fred House doesn't cost any points. But it's at this end that Valencia really need to do something. Find some offense from somewhere.
Well, you know, they can win a quarter, so that's the first thing they can do. If they can just, you know, cut into the lead even by 1 point, it will be a step in the right direction.
But here's,
oh, wow.
That's nice. Here's the thing, Martin. Will he keep that in? Yeah, he will keep it in his front court. Is Valencia, since the start of the second quarter, remember they had that terrible spell at the end of the first quarter as well. But since the start of the second quarter, nice, beautiful play inside, have scored 19 points in almost 2 quarters, 19 minutes, point a minute. And yet Badalona scored 19 points in the second quarter.
It's defense, though. It's you know, and it's not, well, I'd say it's not intimidating defense, but it is, because they blocked 8 shots.
Yeah.
But, you know, and if they blocked 8, that means they will have changed another 10.
Yeah.
But look at that, extended out on the floor, hands up, active, great balance. Look at that, Rubio trying to steal everything. You know, nobody really wants to do anything for Valencia now.
That's nice. Moisa with the reverse layup, beautiful. But really, I mean, Valencia's option is come down and jack it. That's really their only option at the minute.
And it's getting into showtime.
It is getting to showtime now. Skip pass round.
And they're just taking their time.
Yeah, there's no rush.
We're up by, it's 23. I mean, and you know, to have the crowd, you can hear the fans in the background. Well, showtime in the 3rd quarter.
Ricky Rubio for 3, doesn't go. House with the rebound round the back, still going to the finger roll. He almost tossed it up. It was almost like a pass to Morales, but it wasn't a pass.
Oh, with the statisticians being kind to him, he's going to give him an assist. I wouldn't. I'd give him a turnover.
Oh, it went in. I think he's after the buzzer. They're not going to count that one.
That would be a cruel statistician. No assist and count the buzzer beater. Well, they're pumping chest. No, surely not.
Well, it's a heck of a shot from Ribas. Fired in from deep. It seemed to us to be a touch after the buzzer, but it doesn't really matter what we think at this stage in the ball game. But it's been given, and it's all going one way. Badalona on their way, 4th quarter after this. Into the final quarter then, Valencia needing a miracle, trailing 61-37. And when you get buzzer beaters from inside your own half that don't look like they quite beat the buzzer, but they still count, you know everything is going your way.
Yeah, I mean, when this rains, it pours for Valencia. I mean, but for Badalona, nothing going wrong. It's bad enough. You're up by 21 already because you really needed a half-court buzzer beater just to make sure. Now, I mean, you're already. at what point does Coach Aito go into minute management of his team? You know, when does he start thinking about resting his players? I mean, how much of a gamble
I think he's
can he
already
take?
in it, to be honest with you. He's been rotating. You know, we saw Popovich there in the third quarter. I'm sure we'll see more of him in this quarter. We've seen Thomas on court. They've almost all been on court. There's only French who's not yet got on court.
Yeah, and he's got
the 17-year-old.
8 players have played double-figure minutes so far. So, you think you've made a good point there, Dan. But for Badalona, I mean, for Valencia, what do you do? Just give up, or do you set and find your best 5 and keep going? There's another layup blown. Morales, he's had all the big men for.
They've been really let down by their bigs, and the problem with that is it's made life more difficult for the guys on the outside.
Yeah, so they've had to live and die by jump shots,
and they've shot the ball poorly.
Yeah, and so they've shot poorly overall from the 3-point line. It's a 3-point percentage you could sort of live with, but meanwhile in the paint you've got Morales, who's 1 for 4, and Garces, who's 2 for 8. So that's a collective 3 for 12, 25% on layups.
Miledovic is 1 for 3, and he turned down about another 6.
Crikey. So what's that? 4 for 15. And don't forget the. Correct me if I'm wrong, but does the statisticians in European basketball count a block shot as a shot attempt?
A block shot is a shot attempt.
Does it count? Well, I don't know. Doesn't know. I know. If I was being cruel and stats man, I'd say, right, block shot. I'm not counting as it's just a block. Doesn't call it a block shot, they just call it a block.
All right, I see what you mean.
I was trying to be hard on them.
Morales going to the bench on 4 fouls. Might not be a bad place to be right now. Close to the locker room, that's for sure. Moiso on the foul line makes the first and rims out on the second. The rebound for Miledovic, who's come back into the game after that 4th foul.
The thing is that for the American players, this is something that this format they're all comfortable with, because college basketball, they all do it in their end of season tournaments.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, this is literally a case where the bomb squad will have to rain. They have to rain in threes if they want to try and get back in this game now. As Damon Malik continues to try to pour it on.
The problem they've got is they're 22 points down. And not only have they not scored 22 points in a quarter, they haven't scored 22 points in the last 2 quarters combined.
Well, I just have to do a bit of acceleration.
Mallet, who I've been really impressed with tonight, came off the bench, hit a couple of threes to announce his arrival. He's been 4 of 9 from long range.
And he's not the sort of player that you would have presumed that a team like Badalona would go for. You know, I think a team with their kind of budget, they would go off and get a big name NBA style player, and they haven't. They've chosen a guy who's played in Germany, solid 5-year career, and just paying off dividends. Just absolutely fantastic reward they've had. So Oliver's cans of 3.
Well, another 7 or 8 of them, and we might have a ball game back on.
Well, I need a few stops down here.
Yeah.
And they can't play just straight up defense. They've got to go like that. They've got to go for steals.
Mallet was a bit slow getting up there. I wondered if he might have hurt himself, but he seems okay. And inside, tipped away by Fred House. That's good, and kept in bounds.
Well, Rebus
good hustle.
From half court, but can't make a layup.
Williams back on, fires up for 3, 2 in a row.
Yeah, and it's been done without Ruben Douglas, so you can see that his 2 for 11 performance has not been appreciated by Coach Katsikaris. But of course, if they want to truly make the run that they're after trying to affect it, they're going to have to get all their guns out on the floor performing.
Nice drive to the basket. Will it count? No, offensive foul, says the referee up top. I think the referee on the baseline was ready to give an and 1. Then he looked up, saw his co-official waving off the score and saying there was an offensive foul. I'm not quite sure where you get an offensive foul out of that one.
There's the arm pushing out.
You're telling me that's an offensive foul?
Well, and don't forget that Levine was been moaning at the referees on 2 or 3 occasions in the game.
Yeah, that's true.
and they're down by 16 or 18 points. You don't think it affects the game, so I'll just give you that, just for good measure. Don't mess with me, because I know I'm going to see you again on Saturday, or Friday, rather.
His house to Williams. Williams fires up another one, guns it. That's 3 threes in relatively quick succession. They've come out with a bit of a run here. Oh, and a traveling violation. And hang on, Martin, have we got ourselves a ball game on here? Suddenly, Ricky turns the ball over. He's not too happy with life. Timeout has been called by Coach Aito. And
right,
suddenly,
you're right,
13-point game. Now, how about this? They've got 11 points in this quarter. We played a couple of minutes. They had 11 points in the entire last quarter, 10 points in the previous quarter. So on the basis of the last 3 shots, they're outscoring their own pace.
And you can see why the referees called the travel by Ricky Rubio. So frustrated. He thinks that Oliver came and knocked him over. Coach Pesic, Dinamo Moscow. Let's see what he's got to say.
Thanks a lot for joining us. What do you think about Joventut and their great performance tonight?
Until now, I enjoy basketball which play Joventut. Excellent.
Do you think they could be your biggest rivals in this competition?
Nobody knows, so we don't think in this moment. Really, we think about our first game. And we will be, of course, very happy that we play one game against Joventut.
How are your players?
How?
How are your players?
My players. I think we are ready for game tomorrow.
Thank you.
He was very dismissive in that interview of them, Badalona being their big rivals, but you look at it and they're 2 of the better teams in this last day.
2 teams, when this competition was laid out, these 2 teams were absolutely the number 1 and number 2. And Coach Pesic is, well, great steal there, Fernandez. But Coach Pesic, a legend in European basketball, he has established this defensive monster in Moscow, and so he's got every confidence. You can see him, he's relaxed.
He looked relaxed.
He is relaxed, but he's got nothing to lose. He's done it all, he's won everything. What has he got to worry about? The bookies will hate it if these 2 teams play against each other in the final, but I think the fans will love it.
It's certainly all roads lead to Turin for those 2 teams. It did look that way.
Yeah, but Moscow, don't forget, a couple of years ago, winning the competition in Charleroi when they beat Aris. So, that time under Coach Ivanovic, so now, all of a sudden, there's a chance to get back there and do it again. They want to do it in the EuroLeague, but it's a big change. They lost some great players. Papadopoulos, one of the best big men in Europe, has gone, and now another missed shot. Let's not forget, it's 13. 13's the lead. If they get a score here, cut it to 10.
Kickball resets the shot clock. Yeah, it is one of those things now that it would be interesting if they made 2 baskets without reply here, Valencia, to see how Badalona react to their lead coming down to single digits.
And see, at what point in time does everybody else on the Valencia team get fired up and get excited about the chance to win a game? As
there we go.
Miljevic comes up
with a lay-in, and suddenly we're all sitting back up now. 6 minutes to go. It's an 11-point ball game.
Straighten your tie, comb your hair. This game looks like it's just getting interesting.
Rubio gives it to Fernandez. Fernandez trying to go to work on House, nowhere to go. Oh, what a pass from the double team. Sonseca with the easy stuff, but the assist from Fernandez was spectacular.
House. Great pass by Fernandez at the other end, and a turnover. House is not knowing quite what to do. Again, he's had his shot blocked 2 times, and then Miljevic preventing the dunk, but Fred House at the other end just didn't know, do I go to the basket, do I bail out? Did nothing. He gets the other end, and Sonseca, the classic 5-man trailing down the floor, just jumps up, draws the foul, and Miljevic, frustrated he's picked up his 4th foul. You should be frustrated that the biggest number on your stat sheet is 4 fouls.
Well, we just got excited there for a minute as it got down to 11. And as soon as that happened, we saw that great assist from Fernandez to Sonseca for the dunk. We've now seen Sonseca on the trail, get fouled, make 2, and suddenly it jumps right back out to 15.
But now Valencia have shown that they found a way to score. The question is, will somebody else step up? Ruben Douglas being that man we were asking for. Williams has done his job, 21. 21 points from Shimon Williams. Now Ruben Douglas starts scoring as well. We know he can score in bunches. And could get interesting.
Hits a 3. He's a streak shooter. He might come down and hit another one. Good defense there. Forced a tough shot and a defensive rebound by Miljevic. Chance to get it back to 10 or maybe even single figures if this goes. Oh, rimmed out. Sonseca with the save, did he? Or did he step on the line?
I think they caught a foul on Douglas back there. Wow, how close did that one get to drop in?
And you just think on small margins of games won and lost, whether that shot had just dropped in and 9 points. It's a lot different to 12, possibly 14.
Right, but this game was down by 19, as we were talking about. You could have posted this one in. Don't bother coming for the fourth quarter. But they nagged away. Shimon Williams has quietly put together a solid stat line: 21 points, 6 rebounds. Done what his team is. The only one who's got a strong stat line on his team. And his team's still in it. I mean, they're down by 14, but now all of a sudden it's 3-4 basket possession. All they've got to do is get a couple of quick buckets now, and you can put this Badalona team back on their heels.
Fernandez, of course, makes them both. He's missed his one for the whole weekend. There's another 3 going up and in. Beautiful shot from Ruben Douglas. Back-to-back 3s from him. It's down to 11 again. They still need a stop to get it back into single digits, though.
But now they can play straight defense. If they can get good defense and get a stop, it's okay. What they can't do is give up easy dunks, which is exactly what happened.
Sonseca inside.
Somebody will figure out that there's a 7-foot guy on the floor who's standing around the basket.
Oh, what about that for a pass? Williams with the assist, and Barrett stuffs it down.
He hasn't played many minutes tonight. He normally gets 6-7 points a game, so they're still in there. They're hanging around. 11-point down and 3 minutes to go after the dreadful first 37 minutes of, oh, what a pass.
That's a beautiful cut as well from Ricky Rubio. But the problem is they can't go basket for basket. Valencia can't go basket for basket. They need to find some way of stopping.
Well, they've got to get defensive stops now. I mean, if I'm Badalona, I get to 80 points, this game's over. And there's one way of getting back in the game: score, draw some fouls, get some free throws going up. Because they haven't shown a lot of foul shots, Valencia. They've been so scared of going to the basket with the shot blockers. If they can stop the clock and score free throws, that gives a chance to eat into this lead without the seconds, which are almost more precious than points to them at the moment.
Fourth foul on Mallet. He is his team's leading scorer was 16. And the game's leading scorer, Shimon Williams, ticks up to 22. 5 of 9 from behind the arc he's been today. Makes them both. Need some defensive stops, and they're running out of time to get them. Mallet turns down the opportunity of a free fast break there. Running down some clock, the order of the day now for Badalona.
We've got to just get the ball in Fernandez's hands, and you can't foul him because he shoots 94%. Jagler, another 3.
Didn't need that shot.
Certainly didn't.
And here's the chance now for the lead to be cut to single figures for the first time since the first quarter. Ricky Rubio called for the foul. And over the limit for this quarter, so it'll be a couple of free throws.
This is exactly what Valencia wants.
Oh,
well, that isn't.
Ruben Douglas at the line. That 84%. One rattles out.
All the great free throw shooters have missed them today.
They'll all be blaming the rings after the game. George.
Yeah, well, Fernandez already has.
Yeah, it's true. It's down to 10, though. Valencia pressing up court, trying to get a miracle come from behind win here. Still a lot of work to go, but the fact they got back to 10 is impressive in itself. They're going to leave Jaglio open for 3 again, and he'll miss it again.
Oh, rebound.
Great play from Fernandez to chase down that loose ball.
Wow. Jaglio, they're just begging him to shoot.
Yeah. Fonseca's been in baseline, no whistle. Fonseca with another offensive rebound, and they can take a minute off the clock without Valencia seeing the ball. 3 straight offenses.
Wow, and then offensive rebounds, which they haven't had a lot of. They haven't needed to have a lot of because they shot such a great percentage tonight. But then all of a sudden you get down the stretch.
That's a bit of a mismatch in there, isn't it?
And that big, strong Shaman Williams pushes up.
Fonseca goes tumbling.
And that's why the referee, that's why he's laughing. He's saying, come on, ref, look at the size of this man here. You tell me I'm fouling him? Actually, that's pretty good defense.
It wasn't too bad, really.
One hand straight up, arm bar, which is quite legal, but he's leaning forward.
At 6'1", it tells me in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. At all of 6'1".
But you know, I did.
He did okay down there against the big 7
would laugh, but Shaman Williams is a strong bundle. I played against him for fun, but he's a strong player. He's a real solid asset to every team he's played on. Did some great things in Barcelona, but just couldn't get them over the hump. And he's living the same sort of experience at Valencia.
We're into 3-ball time now. They need extra point efforts.
They need somebody to get open for the 3.
There he goes, off the back of the ring, and easy rebound for Ricky Rubio. And you just fancy that any hopes of that miraculous comeback went on that last offense where they ran off 3 offenses in a row. So effectively a minute of time taken off. They ended up scoring at the end of it. And more importantly, they're a minute closer to the final buzzer.
Yep, and Ricky goes to the line now, a 76% free throw shooter, so you're not expecting to get much change out of him. And even if he does miss 1,
which he does,
or 2, it's still 12 points. Well, we've seen stranger things happen in this sport, but
Memphis.
Yeah, well, 9 points in a minute and a half just for the national championship in America. Those of you following college basketball this week.
Nice drive to the basket. Beautiful move. They needed a quick score. Turns to the referee, Williams does, and says there was a foul in there too.
And he also turns to his teammates and says, see guys, that's how you take the ball to the basket. So that's what they haven't had tonight. They've made 3s, but they haven't made any layups, and that's what that's what's let them down. There's normally somebody gives you a 6 for 9 or something.
Oh, what a terrible pass.
Wow.
I was just thinking, why are they fouling? Why are they letting this go? Lose 20. They could take 24-second violations and win the game here. Badalona. Valencia need to foul at 11 down. They also need some 3s. They need some miracle shots. Williams trying to find one, doesn't get it.
And also his teammates got to recognize, you can see he's setting up to shoot the ball, crash the ball.
Yeah.
Go for the offensive rebounds. What are you trying to protect yourself for? You know, even I have to say, although we kind of called this one early in the second half, I think it looks like they've said enough's enough, and Coach Katsikaris is calling in the troops.
Well, I mean, they've clearly given up on this one because they're not even trying to foul to stop the clock. And as I say, 24-second violations would be enough. They got the shot off just in time there. And there's a foul at the other end. 41.5 seconds to go, but
well, Rubio lamented the referee, saying, come on, ref, what are you calling the foul for? But again, Rubio making sure that Douglas can't get the easy basket, even at this point.
Yeah, you got to like that. You got to like that. You know, the game is won, but he chased hard back down court, made sure that there was no easy 2. And look, he saved his team at least a point because he's missed a free throw.
Yep.
And you might say, well, what difference does it matter? And it might not matter today, and it might not matter on Saturday, but it might matter in the final, say, were they to get there and maybe play Dynamo Moscow. You never know. It might matter then. And if you do it now, you'll do it then.
And it's so easy to fall back into highlighting Ricky, but this kid's 17 years old, and he just to have such incredible smarts on the floor. It's just, Oh, it's unbelievable.
24-second violation there, thanks to a block from Barish. But yeah, I said they can win the game with shot clock violations.
No, great physical specimens, which Rubio is not. You understand. LeBron James, you can see 6'8", 6'9", beast.
Yeah.
You know, at 17 and 16. But this kid here is just a smart basketball player.
Yeah.
It's something that you can't teach what he's got.
Time ticking down on this one, and that will do it. The favorites, Badalona, are through to the next round and through at a canter. They only won by 10 in the end, but they won by 10 in the end because Valencia put up 30 fourth quarter points. And that is the only reason this game is close. It's been a very, very good display by Badalona.
Great performance for the first 35 minutes or so. Best team on the day clearly won this game. And Galatasaray, I'd be a bit afraid, be very afraid about what happens, your semi-final matchup with them on Saturday. It's been a great day's basketball, though. Let's not forget this. Quarterfinals done. You know, we're looking ahead. We've got another 3 days of outstanding ball, and this will grow in momentum. As I said, we want to see the entire story told as the Badalona team huddle at half court, and wow, some of those guys missing in action.
You wonder what, the thing is, they put up 30 in the fourth quarter, and okay, some of that's out of desperation, but where was the offense? I mean, they only had 37 in the other 3 quarters. Where was the offense? I know when you're chasing a game, suddenly you might be able to hit some shots, but...
Yeah, but I call you back to you, Dan, it's the shot blockers.
Jerome Moisa, one of the shot blockers, is talking to us.
Un message qu'on peut jouer bien et très mal dans le même match. On a commencé le match.
He knows they can play well.
On a mis la pression et puis ils ont un peu succombé. Seconde mi-temps, une différente histoire. On a beaucoup de choses à régler sur le terrain, mais je pense qu'on est en bonne voie.
Merci.
Well, he said there that he didn't think they played as well defensively or offensively as they can do, and they've got some stuff to sort out. So be very worried if you're Galatasaray, because if they're going to improve from this, they're going to be a very good team. Badalona are through to the semi-finals. They've won 77-67. Bye-bye.